welcome back to my channel. So today we are bringing back a little series that I started last year and I kind of fell off, and I wanted to get back onto it, but basically, obviously, you know, I like to read, I have some books, and I did disappear, but I was doing makeup looks inspired by the best book that I read that month, and then for my channel members I was also doing looks for all the rest of the books that I read that month, which I have not done, but I think I might plan to bring that back. But today we are going to do a makeup look inspired by this book, this hefty book right here, House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J Maas. So if you don't know the Sarah J Maas world, it is expansive. It is like a cult, and it draws you in. Like, you don't know what to expect. You read the you know, ACOTAR series of Court Thorns and Roses, and you're like, oh, this is good, and then you suddenly discover Reese and the Bat Boys, and you're like, oh, I see what's going on here. And then you want to dive into the rest of the world. So you read Throne of Glass, which is like 7 or 8 different books. And there's like thousands of pages. But you go through it and you just get sucked in. You get sucked into the phase and these gorgeous men and these tough women and these battles, these epic stories. And, you know, it's just one of these things. You fall head over heels in love with these characters, and then you can't escape them, okay? So, I actually did not like this series. So I read this book about 3 years ago. This is the first book in the Crescent City series from Sarah J Maas. She's written 3 different like major series, and she still hasn't finished A Court of Thorns and Roses, but the 2 next books are coming out, right? Okay, so I know you guys don't care, but I'm gonna do a makeup inspired look based on this book that I just finished, actually early June. But anyway, I read this one. This is the first one for this series, and this is very different to the other 2 series that she wrote. And I did not like this book. I think I only gave it like 2 out of 5 stars, but I had already bought this one, and because I really didn't, I don't know if I was in a different headspace. I think I need to reread this just to see if I really don't like it, because it just didn't grab me like her other books had grabbed me. And this is the first book of a new series, and it's huge. It's just huge. Maybe it was too long. Maybe it was too long. This one also huge, and I also think too long. And I went through a journey with this book because I finally picked it up. It's been sitting on my shelves for years now, and I was like, well, you know what? Let me read it, see, because there's a 3rd book in this series, and I have not bought it, but I now need to buy it, right? Because I actually ended up giving this a 5-star. It's probably more 4-star, but I think about, like, what happens in this book, my jaw was on the floor, okay? So anyway, we're gonna do a makeup inspired look based off of the book cover. And I was doing these last year, and then I stopped. So let me zoom you in before I start talking about all this stuff. If you don't care about books, hopefully you enjoy this anyway. Lowered myself. Okay, that's a little bit better. So obviously the book cover is blue, it's got yellow, and that's about it, right? I'm not going to be drawing dragons. You know what? I could use some, I was thinking like, what yellow could I use? I could grab a graphic liner and do some little squiggles. I don't know, maybe we'll see. But obviously the overarching color is blue. So I was thinking, what am I gonna pull? So I've been like thinking about, well, actually, first of all, in terms of the yellow, I think I'm gonna use this yellow if I do use an eyeshadow instead of like squiggles, you know, like graphic liner. What am I talking about? This is one of my Colourpop singles, and for the blue, I think I'm gonna go into one of these that I haven't used. I'm gonna try to be able to see if I can use at least one of these. But then for the mattes, I might just go into my Colourpop mattes. Or I've got the Midnight palette from Beauty. Actually, let me grab that. It doesn't really matter which palettes I'm going into for this look. I'm just trying to do a makeup inspired look. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go into this. I have to, right? There's so many. And yeah, I think let's start. I kind of want to start. So while I do this video, I do kind of want to talk about this book because I'm not going to talk about specific things in the book because I don't want to spoil it for anybody who does actually want to get into reading or just hasn't got to it yet. It's an interesting one. For me personally, I went on a journey because I did not like this book. I was reading this book the same way as I read the first one. Like in my mind, I was reading it and then, but I was thinking, I don't like this book. I don't care about the characters. And the problem that I have is I need to start like doing my makeup. I'm gonna go in, I know I said it doesn't matter what I use, but I'm gonna go into this denim shade, this really dark blue. Actually, let me put on some eyeshadow primer. I did do a base on my face. I'm hoping that I don't get a huge amount of fallout because that's not gonna be very pretty, but I don't know, we'll see. So, okay. So like I said, I read the first book about 3 years ago now. And, or maybe 2 years ago, I don't know, some like a while back. And for the most part, I remember sort of what happens in the first book, but only vague things. And I didn't remember everyone's name. I mean, obviously I remembered the two main, because it's a romantasy, I remembered the two main people in the romance. I kind of remember side characters, but not by name or anything like that. So going into the second book 2 years or 3 years later after reading the first one, and I didn't do a recap or anything, I didn't like try to refresh my mind, I just went into it blind, which is probably not what you should do. I found myself so lost at first as to who everyone was. Aside from obviously the two main people, there's so many names in this book, so many different characters, and I think some authors do a good job at recapping, and I think if you read back to back, there's no point of a little bit of a recap or just a little bit of a sentence or a paragraph to say what happened in the previous book, just to kind of remind us readers, you know, who don't really remember what we read. And so I feel like in this book, Sarah J. Maas, the author, did not do that, or I didn't spot it. It was very vague. It was very hard for me to really know what was going on most of the time. And I have no idea what I'm going to do with this makeup look. I was thinking I'd do blue all over, but actually I'm going to do blue. I'm going to do a little bit of a halo to start with because I don't necessarily want to put the yellow in the middle, but it might be fun. I want that option. There's a lighter blue on the cover that I might want to use. Anyway, so back to this book. I struggled. And let me tell you, this book is 800 pages. I think it's 800 pages or 700 pages. Let me just double check. Oh my God. It's 800 pages, okay? And that's crazy, right? That's crazy. The first book was like that too. And it took me about a week, maybe a little over a week, reading it on and off, just because, you know, I was struggling. I was struggling at first. So yeah, what I will say about Sarah J. Maas books is they're very easy to read. Like you can read them and digest everything, but if you struggle to follow along with who everyone is, like me, I didn't have this in the first book, obviously, because it was, you know, there was a little bit of like introduction, obviously, because they're all brand new characters. But this one, there was one guy who I know is in the first book and I didn't remember him at all. And then I was like, I still don't really remember his significance in the first book. But he's pretty significant in this book. So when I was reading his chapters, because there's so many different, I wouldn't say like POVs, but there are, but not in like a weird way. It's like within a chapter there's different perspectives or different scenes, and I was getting so lost. It wasn't until the 500 page mark that I actually started to change my mind about this book. Okay, so if you read a lot of romantasy, if you read a lot of fae romance or epic fantasies with fae and all that stuff, you know, you're going to be familiar with the different tropes and everything. And normally those are always set in some sort of fantasy world. This is set in a fantasy world, but it's urban. It's urban fantasy, whereas her other series are not. So they have mobile phones, they have computers, they got cars, they have normal jobs, but then there's also werewolves, and there's fae, and there's other things going on in this world that is very magical, and some people have all these powers and everything, and they all just live in this big city called Crescent City, right? It's an urban fantasy, and I think when I read the first book, I think I didn't enjoy that. But I also think I didn't really like the first book because I never really liked the two main characters, which are the two characters that you're supposed to fall in love with the love story and everything. I just never really, I don't think, you know what, I need a mirror that's closer because my mirror's a bit far away, and I'm just like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm talking, and I'm barely being able to see what I'm doing. Okay, so I can see now. So anyway, there were the two main reasons I didn't care for the book. I think the story itself was fine. But I think ultimately the first book was too long. I think the second book, I went into it knowing that I didn't enjoy the first book, and I knew that I thought I didn't like the fact that it was urban fantasy. I still am not entirely sure if I liked that or not. It didn't really bother me, this second book, because there was just so much going on, and I was really trying to figure out who everyone was. Now, what I ended up realizing with Sarah J. Maas is that she is very good at creating these found families. She's good at creating interest in certain characters, and for the most part, side characters, I really struggled to care about them. Unless something happens or I connect with them. I do think she has probably too many characters in her books, and I do think they are immature in times and everything, but I think you have to be in the right mood and the right mindset to read her books. But what I realized reading this book in particular was it's kind of like a soap opera. Obviously there's this overarching story and plot, and it was all leading to something, right? But in between that, there's all these little tidbits. There's things going on between different characters. There's different conversations going on, different scenes that don't include the two main characters. So I thought that was interesting because I didn't like the two main characters. I actually liked the fact that we spent time with other characters that I ended up liking. I'm saying characters, I'm not even like giving names because to this day, I don't remember the names. I don't remember the names. I know who they are, and if I saw them written down, I'll be like, oh yeah, I know who that is. I think it's Rune. Rune is like her half-brother or something. And then there's Thalion, I don't know, something like that. There's a couple, and then there's another, like a werewolf that we're following and everything. A lot of men in this book, not actually very many women, I've noticed. Anyway, so that usually is the case with Sarah J. Maas. Although in ACOTAR, they're all her sisters and everything, and I really enjoyed Court of Silver Flames. But anyway, yeah, for this, obviously this video, this is the best book that I read this month in terms of overall satisfaction. I did read some other books. They weren't very good. There was one or two that were okay. I'm reading one right now, but I haven't finished it. So yeah, this one is the best one that I read, and I did ultimately end up giving it, 5 stars and everything like that. So that's all juicy and Gucci and lovely, right? But yeah, around the 500 page mark, because at the time that I was reading this, I was texting my friend back in England because she's gotten back into reading. So we've been really bonding over reading, and she's going to read this series. And also she loves ACOTAR, but she hasn't read this series, and she hasn't read Throne of Glass. So she's bought all those books, and she's asking me like which one she should read first and everything. So I was giving her my thoughts on it as it was happening. And I was like, yeah, I'm not interested. This book's so boring. And then at the 500 page mark, or not literally at the 500, but like in the 500 pages, because there's like 800 pages. You gotta like split this up a little bit. So that's more than halfway through the book. I finally realized, oh, you know what? This might be a 4-star. Maybe it's a 3, maybe it's a 4-star. Like, I'm actually enjoying it. I'm enjoying where the story is going, what's happening. I'm finding some of the mysteries kind of interesting, and I want to know what happens, right? So I don't care about the romance at all. So in a romantasy, I think it falls short for me. There are scenes where they're being romantic, or not even romantic, spicy, I suppose. And I didn't really care for any of those scenes because I don't really like these characters. But the actual story itself, I actually enjoyed. So yeah, I was thinking this is going to be a 2-star. I'm not going to read the 3rd book. I can save myself some money and time by not reading it and not following the series. Okay, so that's what I was thinking. Okay. And then, yeah, we got into the 500s. I started messaging her. I'm like, oh, this is getting better. I'm actually starting to like it. What's going on here? And then the ending. It was, I wouldn't even, like, the way that, like, I read Sarah J Maas and I don't think her writing is that great. I'm just going to put it out there. I don't think her writing is that great. I've always thought this. I read Throne of Glass and I struggled through that quite a bit. Even though I enjoyed it, I felt like it was a struggle at times. I'm going to try to find a light. I want to find a blue like this. Yeah. Just use Rain Cloud. I mean, that actually looks pretty nice. It's quite nice. And then Soaked is this one. Oh, Soaked. I gotta go into Soaked. I'm gonna go into... Those are pretty, but they're not super pigmented. You know what? I'm gonna put a blue in the middle from this palette. I'm gonna go into Cerulean right here, just so those can lay flat on top of another blue. Actually, I'm just gonna use the same brush, why not? Anyway, that ending, like if you haven't read, like you have to read A Court of Thorns and Roses before you read this book. I'm just gonna say that. Before you read this series, you have to read A Court of Thorns and Roses because it's not going to land the same. It's not going to land the same. You have to read A Court of Thorns and Roses before you read this series, okay? And I have. And I was told by another friend back in the US, she's the one who got me into Sarah J Maas a few years ago. And she was like, yeah, start with A Court of Thorns and Roses, Throne of Glass, and then read Crescent City. I was like, okay, fine, fair enough. So that's what I did. Okay, and I'm so happy that she told me to do that because I'm really happy that I read this book because quite honestly, it shifted the whole thing for me. Like what happens in this book and the mysteries that unfold is shocking. I was not expecting it. I think if I were a smarter person, I would expect it. I was not expecting it. So anyway, yeah. So towards the end of the book, I was like, oh no, I'm really enjoying this. This is going to be a 5-star. That's what I was thinking. And then literally like the last couple pages of the book, my jaw was on the floor. Just because of like, what? Really? Oh, okay. And I'm just gonna leave it at that. So it got me in that respect. And I thought that was super cool. So I liked that. Anyway, I'm gonna go into Soaked. I think Soaked was the one that was more blue. Yeah, I'm gonna go put this one here. So let me know if you read any of these books, if you have read Sarah J Maas. There are obviously Sarah J Maas haters because listen, she's not like, she's not an amazing writer. Like I can read books if I really get into a certain character and I like a plot, but I can see through the fact that it's maybe not written very well. Like but also I'm not going to deny the fact that she has written all of these epic stories, and she does have a pretty decent imagination. I'm going to put that, I'm not going to, like, in terms of being a writer, it's not always just about how pretty the words are on page. You actually have to have a story to what's going on and some sort of plot. And she did it. She did it. I didn't know where she was going with this, and I still don't know where she's going with this. I have no idea what happens in the third book. Now, I am confused as well because I heard the third book wasn't very good. But based on what happened in the second book, how could it not be? Like, regardless of, like, it has to be good. Like, I can't imagine how it's not good. Like, I literally can't. I have, it, maybe there's like, maybe people don't care. Maybe there's not a romance. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But I was fully on board with what happened, where it was going, and yeah. So I know I'm not really explaining too much about this book and this series, but it's the second book of an epic romantasy series. I can't, and it's kind of interconnected with other things that she's written. So, like, it's kind of impossible for me to do this particular sort of, you know, if I were to do like a little bit of a review, and then I can't really tell you. I'm going to go into this yellow. This is the yellow from the Aha Honey that I tried to, it's called Sweet Spot, and I tried to hit pan on it when it was rolled into my Pan Nose eyeshadows, and I never did. So I'm just going to put this here. But yeah, I just wanted to talk through my experiences with this. And then I messaged my friend, like, when I finished it, I was like, you're not going to believe this. This is a 5-star read from me. She's like, wow, how did she do that? I'm like, I don't know. But I really do feel like it becomes kind of like a soap opera. You get invested in all of these characters and these side characters, and for me personally, it just got interesting. There's a mystery that's happening that is not resolved at all with one of the characters. So I don't know what's going to happen with that. Obviously, there's the main mystery that's happening, which I need to desperately know what happens with that, because it's just kind of interesting. Like, where is that going to go? And also, because it's interconnected with her other series, A Court of Thorns and Roses, and there's 2 more books that are coming out for that one, I need to read Crescent City before I read the rest of the ACOTAR series, which there should be a book coming out either September or October this year. And then the last one I've heard is coming out in January. I don't know if that's still true, but like, I got a lot of reading to do because I have invested so much time in these stupid stories. And stupid stories, I mean, they're not stupid, but you know what I mean. I've invested time at this point to, like, know what's happening. I am going to do some graphic liner, I think. I think it needs it. So anyway, I had a lot of fun this month just going back into that world because, like I said, I haven't read the first book in ages. Like, the first book was so long ago that I read it. I'm going to go into, this is actually a really good yellow. It's kind of a little bit off of the yellow on the book, but I think that I'm going to put a little bit in the middle here, and then maybe I'll try to do something. Anyway, I don't know. Is this fun for you guys? I remember last year I had a lot of fun doing these types of videos, but then I just didn't continue them. There isn't a reason. Like, I kind of stopped. Oops, I have my drink here. So I kind of stopped reading at the end of I'm just trying to find my liner brush because I do have one and it's easier if I use it. I stopped reading after last summer. I was really, I think I ended up, well, there they are. I ended up in a little bit of a spiral because I read, and I did a video on this book. What's it called? I can't even remember what it's called now. Pick it up and look, because I have a memory of a goldfish at this point. Okay, so I had to, I and I did a video on this one. I read Once Upon a Time Broken Heart last year, and I read that series, and I just fell in love with that Jax character. And if you know, you know, you know, I literally fell in love with him, and I think I ended up in a really big reading slump. I just didn't want to read anything else because I didn't think that anything else would be as good. And this is not looking how I want it to look. Maybe we go like this. We go boop. I'm trying to be a little creative now. I'm taking a look, and now it's gonna get ugly. No, this is ugly. What have I done? Ugly. What have I done? No! I don't like it in the inner corner. I think I literally have a blue here. Oh no, this is not it. Okay, no. I'm gonna fix that. No, no, no. Ugly. No, no, no. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. Let me fix that. Hold on. Anyway, so I ended up in such a slump, like a book reading slump, and it's just one of these things where if you read like a really good book, sometimes it's hard to really get involved in anything else. And I just, it's not, those books are not even that good. They are just okay in terms of the writing style. It's just the character and what happened that I ultimately was just like, oh my gosh, I wish this were real. And he's not even a nice person. He's like toxic. And I was like, oh my gosh, he's so amazing. So yeah, anyway. So why am I talking about this? I'm talking about this because after I read that, I really struggled to read anything else. And then I read the Hail Mary book, which obviously they made a movie out of. I did not like it. Everybody loves that book. I didn't like it. I mean, I'm going to want to watch the movie at some point because I do like Ryan Gosling, although I don't know if I really like him anymore. I used to really like him. I'm not sure if I'm a huge fan of him because I was trying to watch Fall Guy the other day because it came on Netflix and it was so bad. I'm just not sure I'm into him anymore as an actor. I don't think he's very good anymore. I don't know, or something's happened where he is just not doing it for me. Oh, this is terrible. This is really hard to fix. Why did I do that? What was I thinking? You guys just let me do that too. You were just watching along and letting me do that. I need to like redo everything now. I'm powdered and everything. This is why you do it without makeup. I should have done this without makeup. Okay, anyways, so, okay, I think we're good. I think we're good. I just want to fix this because it was looking lime and I don't want it to look lime. Okay, I think maybe I fixed it. I don't know. So anyway, I ended up in such a reading slump, and my point of this story is I was reading like, I would say about maybe, averaging maybe 7 books a month, and I was barely reading one. And that continued on for a good 6 months, maybe even longer. Too much, but I have definitely picked up the pace because I've just fallen back in love with reading again. It was just like it was just all to do with like I tell you what, I really did fall into like a bad depression, I think. And I wasn't doing the things that were making me happy from before, and it was really stupid. But anyway, I really wanted this look to be more interesting than it is, and it's not very interesting. I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put a yellow on top of this blue. This might move us a little bit further away from the book, but I want it to, it's more for the look at this point, because I don't think I should do anything else. Yeah, I think I want to go into this shade, which is in my Gourmande Girls, called the Sirens. But the problem with this yellow, it's very pretty, but it does lean more green. Does it work with this blue? You know what, before I do this, I'm going to put the blue on my hand. I don't want to do a huge amount, but that's like the blue. And then I want to do, yeah, you see, you know, it's kind of green, but it is pretty. Yeah, I think I just want to put a little bit here. I'm going to do it. It's a little bit further away. We're not doing the liner. I think I've just decided I'm not going to do that today. No, we're not doing it today. So I'm going to put this here. Is that doing anything for anyone? Maybe I'll bump it up a bit. I mean, that's probably ruining it, right? Because that's way more green. What am I doing? But it's pretty. Oh, it's pretty though. I want to do this. Okay, I'm going to commit. I'll go back in with another blue right in the middle. I just want to make this a little bit more interesting. Also, I want to hit pan in this shade. So any chance I can use it is a win-win for me. Okay, so now what I want to do, we're totally going off course. I want to add a blue in the middle. Am I working on a blue? I don't think so. Maybe we go back into this one, but we use this shade instead. You see what I'm doing? I'm trying to get my uses. This is purple though. We can't do that. That's purple. It's purple. Commit. Okay, so wait, I do need to use dewy. Let's try dewy. Maybe dewy will be bright enough. It's not that different though, but I just want to neutralize the green a little bit. I just want to make this a little bit more interesting. Okay. Gosh, you're probably like, what are you doing? You're just adding everything. Yes, I am. Like I need to add more of this dark blue on this side right here. Okay, I think I'm gonna go into foam and I'm just gonna try to blend the edges out a little. Try to neaten this up a little bit. Yeah, let me know if you read Crescent City and what your thoughts are on it. I would love to know. And were you like the same as me? Like, because I don't think this is the best book. Because of what happens, I'm like, I have to know what happens. So, you know, oh no, I've ruined this. What? I can't get this look to go my way. I've like made it too light now. This is like cursed. So what happens? I bring this back and it's cursed. I think, you know what I don't enjoy about the language in this book? When they're doing the dialogue, I think the dialogue is really corny. And I think the dialogue is also quite immature. She does that in ACOTAR though, so it kind of makes sense that it would happen here. I'm going to go into my little tiny Lord and Berry. I'm really, you know, unofficially project panning this, so whenever I can use it, I want to use it. We're just going to tightline a little bit. But the characters are immature. Like they're like something serious can be going on, and I feel like there's still an air of being pretty young, even though actually, how old are they? Maybe they're like mid-20s though at this point. Seems so young for me. But yeah, I don't know. There's just something about the language. The dialogue is a bit cheesy sometimes. But when you read these books, you just have to, in order to enjoy them, you have to ignore certain things that are silly, you know? Because they're not to be taken seriously. They're not to be taken seriously. I'm not like, and I if somebody doesn't like it, I think fair play to you, because I know that I read better written books before, but there's just something about, I don't know, the fact that she swayed my head into giving this book a better review than I was expecting to is crazy. It's mad. I just started really caring about the characters, and I just can't talk about the story because I don't want to spoil it. I might have already spoiled it, you know? I can't, and I don't know what happens in the third book, but no, I can't even explain. I couldn't, oh, what's that? Oh, no! No! All right, I haven't done blush. Blush goes with this. I don't know. I was thinking one of my Sun Kisser blushes. Which one is which? I think I'm gonna go into this one, which is, no, actually, let's do this one. This is Shades On. I only have a few more uses left on this one for my Project 10 uses. Yeah, I think we'll use this one. I'm also going to go in with a powder blush. It's just I've done cream so far, so I wanted to put a little bit of this on. I do like this blush, but I feel like it kind of ends up disappearing. It's so pretty though. It's so natural. It's like the type of thing that you can wear and then walk around and, you know, not have a full face of makeup. You know what I mean? All right, so what do we think? I mean, I wasn't feeling super creative today. I feel like the blue is very blue. But I still wanted to like start the series up again because I am reading and, you know, just want to see which books I can read, and it's always fun to do these looks, right? So anyway, that is my little book of the month video for you for obviously the month of June. We are very, very near July, so I'm excited. I'm excited. But anyway, let me know if you read any of these books or any of the Sarah J Maas books. What are your thoughts? If you hate her, if you love it, if you haven't read it but you want to get in, or you don't care and you're just here for the makeup. Thank you so much for being here. Anyway, if you made it this far, hopefully you're all doing well, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.